Microsoft actually reiterated as a buy today by Goldman Sachs. We're going to talk a little bit of software right now. Stephanie, if you don't mind, we start with you. I see you have a couple software names, including Microsoft and CrowdStrike, and the aforementioned that Dom just mentioned, Fortinet, having a great performance so far this year. What is your take when it comes to software in tech? Is that a good place to go as a safe haven, or do you see that still continuing to be a growth?
I think you pick your spots, Frank. I don't own Microsoft at this point because I see other opportunities. Anaplan, for example. It's a cloud play. It's still down 6% year to date. It's lagged massively, but it's an enterprise IT recovery play. And they just reported last week, and billings were up 36% year over year, and bookings were up 34% year over year. So good visibility. I also own Cisco for the same idea, right? It's all about enterprise IT recovery and the reopening. So I just see other options elsewhere that are more attractive to me.
Joe, back over to you. And I want to apologize, Stephanie, you do not own Microsoft. But, Joe, you actually do, along with CrowdStrike and Fortinet. I think I got those notes mixed up a bit. What's your take on Microsoft's performance versus those other big-time software players?
Well, I think, first of all, when I think about software, it's important to understand in an economic cycle, software tends to be very resilient if you begin to see growth to decelerate. In particular, corporations, the last thing they cut back on is their software upgrades. So there seems to be a little bit of a defensive element towards software itself. That being said, though, I wanted to stay high up in quality, and I think Microsoft is the name that clearly provides that for you. I think a lot of the software names in 2020, they saw the opportunity of future revenue growth pulled forward in that digital stay-at-home environment very dramatically. So I was very cautious about entering a lot of those names. I did enter the cyber names. I think the cyber names are clearly where you're seeing a lot of positive momentum. I have CrowdStrike. I have Fortinet. They've run extensively. I would not chase either of those names right here. But on any pullback, I think you remain high up in quality. Adobe would be the first name on a pullback that I would be looking to acquire. And I do think you've seen a paradigm shift post-earnings for Salesforce. That would be another name on a pullback I'd be looking to acquire.
Yeah, speaking of Salesforce, Jim, I know you own Salesforce. One point of order, Jim, earlier you said that Dr. Gottlieb said earlier today on Squawk Box that we were nearing the peak. He actually said the worst is possibly coming, with school being an incubator for the spread. So just with that in mind, does that change your take on a software play? I know you also, again, own Salesforce, great performer, tripling the market over the last month.
Yeah, so I'll talk about the stocks on Dr. Gottlieb. The last I heard from him was late September. The implication of a peak not being here yet indicates that there would be an increase to get to the peak. Nonetheless, I mean, the point stands that you're looking at possibly peaking sometime in the next few weeks, and you have to think about what happens on the flip side of that. Now, with regards to Salesforce, Twilio is another software stock. I own small positions in Salesforce and Twilio. Together, they're about 4% of the portfolio that I run. That's not a lot. The reason it's only so small is that I do think there's going to be volatility in these names, particularly as interest rates rise, which I do expect they slowly will. And just these high-valued Salesforce and Twilio, if they come down a little bit, that gives me an opportunity to add to it. So this is a case where patience is a virtue, as it frankly always is in investing.